Today, our guest on the show is Carrie Willis, and she will be talking to us about her ventures from life at 19 when she lost her mother. And her mother left her with a $300 life insurance policy to her ventures of today, where she teaches families, friends, and part of her business is to enlighten people on how to retire and how to thrive in life. It started with her son, who she wanted to leave sound bites for and let him know that he is loved at all times. So, Coach Carrie teaches us more than just death is about grieving financially. It's also about the peace of heart that you leave with your family. Welcome to Emerging with Grace. I'm loving having you here, and I'm glad that you chose this podcast to listen to. Please like, subscribe, and share so that more people can get to know how to emerge with grace. Thank you. Thank you for being with us today. And here comes Coach Carrie. Hi, Coach Carrie. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How are you doing today?
I'm doing much better now that you're here.
I
So
appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Marquita.
I know I got a brief understanding of what your business was at our Galentine chat, but I fell in love with the story of why you are doing your YouTube channel. Can you give us some background into that?
Absolutely. So I don't just do the YouTube channel. It actually started off as a live stream opportunity for my son. I was binge watching a television show and I realized that a lot of the actors have passed away, but their
Mm.
families still have an opportunity to see them.
Right, right.
And I'm like, that is really, really, really beautiful. And I thought about the fact that my mother passed away at the age of 39. And I called my brothers, I called my sisters. I'm like, hey, do we have any recordings of mom anywhere? You know, we used to have that old VHS recorder back in the day with the VCR
Mm-hmm.
tapes, and nobody has anything. Now, I'm the oldest of six. My dad doesn't have anything. He's in his 70s now. And so it just occurred to me, wow, we don't have anything except for our memories of
Right.
our mom. And now I'm a mom. I adopted a little boy when he was 6 months old. He will be 16
Oh,
years old this month. And I
wow.
said, you know what? I want something for him to know my wisdom, know my words, know what I think and feel, in particular around the areas of money and finance and generational wealth and legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started recording for him through a program that live streams to multiple platforms. And
Okay.
so one of those platforms being YouTube that you mentioned. But I really started doing that for that reason.
Oh, okay. All right. So, 39 is awfully young.
It
Can we go
is.
back and talk about what happened as to why you lost your mom?
Well, I don't really know all the details. I know that I was doing some volunteer work at a community center. I received a phone call that my mother was being taken to the hospital.
Mm.
And so I was driven from the community center home. I was 19 years old at the time, but I didn't have a car. And so somebody drove me to the house, and my mother wasn't at the house. She was at the hospital. And when they took me to the hospital, she had already passed away.
Oh, my goodness. That's horrible to learn in that type of way. So,
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. You
I'm
don't get a
sure.
dress rehearsal for that.
No, you don't. You don't. So, after everything happened, and the reason why you started doing the financial part is because there was a life insurance policy left, correct?
Well, there was a life insurance policy, but the payout was less than $300, which is surprising to me because I know that my mother had life insurance, and you expect that it's going to take care of the needs of your
Mm-hmm.
family when you pass away. But there's so many stories like that where that happens.
It is. It is. A lot of people don't understand the ins and the outs of life insurance, or the ins and the outs of inheritance and wills and what have you. So, did you
Hmm.
have to handle everything as the oldest?
I did. I wrote my mother's obituary
Hmm.
at the age of 19. I bought my first house at the age of 19, so my brothers and sisters would have a place to stay as well as my dad.
That's
The
remarkable.
house that we were, thank you, the house we were living in, we were renting.
Okay.
And so I was able to purchase that house for us so they had some continuity.
I believe that's beautiful. So, you were a big help to your father.
Absolutely. Daddy, if you watching this, hey.
Just so he
But
know
he
that.
was right, but he was a big help as well. But I think when you're with somebody that long and you love somebody in that way,
Hmm.
that sometimes you just don't know what to do. And because I was already out and I was a community advocate, I had other people that were around me that were able to help me to shoulder the responsibilities.
Oh, that's beautiful. Talk to me about that. What that looked like.
Well, what it looked like was me writing the obituary.
Hmm.
A friend of my mother's helped with the down payment for the house. It looked like a community center moving me from a volunteer to an employee so that I had money coming in to take care of my brothers and sisters and to help the family out. So just, it was really all hands on deck.
I bet. I bet. So, you took care of all of that, and then you
I
helped
did.
raise your siblings?
Well, most of my siblings, we were relatively close in age. So I was 19, and then the sister next to me was 18.
Mm-hmm.
The youngest was 9. So the youngest, we are 10 years apart. And so I had some influence, but I would say that my father did most of the raising.
Well, that's good. Then to put a lot on you, that would have been a lot. So
Hmm.
then you decided to adopt. Talk to me about that.
I did. So the adoption journey was interesting. I always wanted to be a mom until I saw my sister have her baby, and I said, "Oh Lord, no, that's not for me." Oh, as the I said, "Oh," but as it turned out, through some emergency surgeries and other situations, I wasn't able to have children,
Mm-hmm.
and so after I got married, we adopted,
Okay.
and I was doing foster parenting first.
Mm-hmm.
And as a foster parent, you're required to take children to visitation to see their biological families. And you're in one room with the foster parents, and the children are in another room visiting with the birth family.
Mm-hmm.
And in the visitation room, I just made a comment about wanting to adopt. And one of the women that was in that space heard me. And on the next visitation, I got a phone call at the facility that they had a little boy available for adoption.
Oh,
And they actually
wow.
brought him to my house. I didn't have to go and pick him up, they brought him to me.
That's beautiful. I mean, it doesn't happen that easy for most people.
You know what? It doesn't happen that easy for most people unless you're focused on something else. I've always been a firm believer, even when I didn't have words for it. I
Mm-hmm.
knew that if I focused on something that it would show up. We used to play this game in the car as a child when my parents were driving around and you would see, let's say, an orange car.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, pick out as many orange cars as you can. And first you don't see any, but then all of a sudden everybody has an orange car, which is a strange color, but you would see so many orange cars. And what I learned to understand as an adult is that that's your reticular activation system. And
Mm.
so what you focus on expands. So I focused on wanting to be a mom. I focused on wanting to be prosperous. I focused on wanting to be abundant. And those are the things that showed up for me,
Mm-hmm.
even though, again, I didn't have the language for that. Like I needed help when my mother passed away.
Right.
And so I yelled out, "Help me," and people showed up, right? So
Manifestation.
manifestation, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So you bring home this bundle, and you and your husband now have a baby boy, and you didn't want any more after that?
No, no, did not want any
That
more.
was a
I
quick
used to
no.
It was a no because there's a journey that took place
Okay.
prior to the adoption. And so again, I was a foster mom and I was a foster mom for 6 children. They were a family of
Mm.
6 and
Mm-hmm.
I'm the oldest of 6. So I was like, I can handle 6 children. I'm the oldest of 6. And so we had those 6 children. We had another little girl who was not a part of that family, and then we also had my son. So it was a total of 8 children altogether.
Okay.
I had a schedule. I had things down to a science. All of them had special needs. We used to have service providers in and out of the house. And unfortunately, their parents weren't able to maintain their rights. And so those children became available for adoption as well. And so we started on the journey to adopt them. They were with us almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going through the adoption process for my son. So he gets adopted. We're going through the adoption process for those 6 children. And then an aunt showed up and she was
Out of
able to
nowhere.
adopt them. And so the first order of business, if you will, of most adoption agencies or foster care agencies is reunification.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so
With
even
the
though we had gone
family.
through that process, right,
Mm-hmm.
and so after that, I stopped fostering. It was very emotional. So I stopped
I'm sure.
a foster parent, and I had my son, and we moved on in life.
That's a 2-year journey. Do you stay in contact with them?
No, you're not allowed to stay in contact. They weren't even allowed to be told why they were leaving. They told us to tell them that they were going swimming. And while they were swimming, we were told to pack all of their things and drop it off at the adoption agency. So we never even got to say goodbye.
Oh my goodness. I hope they don't do that now. That's so jarring for kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, jarring for
I'm not
you.
sure. Yeah, but I'm not sure what the process includes now because I haven't been a part of that system in almost 16 years.
Okay. All right. So, what have you, as a joy of motherhood, been up to for those 18 years?
Well, my son is almost 16, but including the time that I was a foster parent,
Mm-hmm.
the journey really has been part struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Part stress,
Mm-hmm.
until you get into self development, and then that allows you to thrive. So I went from struggle and stress to striving to thriving. And that journey happened really because of personal self development.
Okay.
So,
Talk to me about self development.
well,
That's what
self
a lot of
development,
people need in life.
not a lot, everybody. Everybody needs self development.
Mm-hmm.
So I do daily self development. It didn't start out that way. I was the type of person that would go to events, whether they were on Zoom or in person, and the person that's speaking from the stage would say, "Oh, I read this book or I read that book." I would go and buy the book, but I
Mm-hmm.
had not opened any pages. They were all collecting dust.
Oh,
And so I
wow.
met a mentor and he started mentioning those books. And I was just on the camera holding up the books. Oh, I have that book. I have that book. I have that book. And he decided to personally mentor me. And through that mentorship, one of his requirements is that you read books every day,
Mm-hmm.
no more than 10 pages a day, and you actually do book reports. I said, book reports? I haven't done those since, ooh, Lord.
Mm.
I was a public school teacher for 20 years, so I'm no stranger to assigning book reports, but being assigned a book report was something different. But it was so life changing because there was a lot of, even when my mother passed away, a lot of childhood things that took place where I was blaming a lot of people for things. And so the first book that he had me to read is called The Mountain Is You by Brianna Weist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's a great book for self development. She has you go back to your childhood, of
Mm-hmm.
course, in your mind. You go back to your childhood, your young adulthood, even in your adult life, and you really work through some questions and some processes that she has in the book that allows you to heal that space, so that you aren't carrying that baggage along with you anymore. And then when you get to the present, she has you go to the future to see what you want your life to look like, to actually go and meet your future self. Listen, she was on point. Okay.
Okay. I
Go have
love
future self.
that.
And so it's really a great book. I've never done that before, but it was a great book to go back into my childhood, accept responsibility for the things that happened to me, and
Mm.
then to live in the present with, instead of shame, empowerment.
Okay.
And then to look at who I want to become become in the future and focus on that so that every action that I take in the present is
Mm-hmm.
leading me to the future that I want.
Okay. All
So
right.
that was that's where my journey started, was with The Mountain Is You. It is a tough read. You have to be willing to do the hard work because in my language, Brianna gets a little feisty with you, okay?
Okay.
And so you have to be willing to do the tough work, but it's so worth it. It was absolutely 110% worth it. And then he has assigned other books, and I continue to read those about 10 pages a day. You can do audio. You can do, some people like the handheld books, some people like the PDF versions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read those books, and the book report includes a summary of what I've read, 2 to 3 sentences, a little more if you want more, but you don't have to read 10 pages. Sometimes you
Allowing it
might
to
read
sink
one
in.
sentence. One sentence of one of my book reports, it was one sentence that I got what I needed in that
Mm.
moment. And so I just wrote that down. And then the second section of the book report, you internalize what you read. So you say, I've read this section. This is how it applies to me. This is what I take from what I've read. And then the last section of the book report is really your action steps. Now, what are you going to do about it? And
Right.
so a lot of times people just read books from cover to cover, but they haven't really internalized the book or taken action steps towards what they want to do. And so I think that's really, really was a missing piece for me that caused me to get to the space that I'm in now, where I can talk about my past without tears. I can talk about my past without shame. I can talk about my past without it bringing up pain. And I'm able to bless other people and put them in a position to be able to do the same thing.
I love that. So it was basically a tool for comprehension and then self activating.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
I would agree with that.
Is that how you do your coaching?
Well, I do different types of coaching. So I'm not a life coach, but I do encourage people to start with The Mountain Is You if
Mm-hmm.
they feel like they're having personal challenges. So the way that my coach coaches me is that he coaches me to my potential instead of my comfort level. But he also does what's called permission based coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So my coaching is financial coaching, and then I do engagement and visibility coaching. So when you see the word coach in front of my name, it really originally was specifically for my financial coaching.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned that engagement and visibility and networking and getting in places and spaces with people that can help you to accomplish that future self is
Mm-hmm.
really, 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 really important. And so I intentionally expand my circle in that way.
Which is why we had a coffee chat.
We did. And I
Mm-hmm.
do no pitch coffee chats because when I first started in financial services, I was taught to DM people. It's really spam, if you
Mm-hmm.
ask me.
Mm-hmm.
I was taught to do that. And it really did not give me the results that I wanted. And I realized as I was going through The Mountain Is You that had happened to me. I said, that's how I got in this business. But I didn't like how I got in the business, even though I love the business. And so I said,
Mm.
well, I don't want to be that type of person. I don't want to do that to people. I really want to connect with people and know what people are about. So a no pitch coffee chat means you're not selling me. I'm not selling you. I authentically want to know what people do to see how I can support them. So
That
that's really
idea.
what the no pitch coffee chats are about.
Yeah. I'm not a big person on sales pitch for myself
Yeah,
or others.
right.
So before we get into your here and now, let's go back to how you self activated, you got through that part, and then you decided to strive.
Yes.
What was the striving
And
part like?
the striving is still happening, right? Striving happens simultaneously to thriving.
Okay.
Striving is just working hard towards accomplishing a goal. And what
Mm-hmm.
I realized that being poor is really, really, really hard work.
Yeah.
It's hard to be poor. It's
It's
hard to
also
wonder
very
there,
stressful.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
but to wonder how you're going to pay your next bill, to be driving around and wonder if a car pulls up behind you, is that the police? Are your tickets, do you have tickets that you can't pay? Are the stickers on your vehicle expired? So that living in worry, I didn't want to stay in that space. But I
Mm-hmm.
also realized that getting wealthy was hard too. So I decided to choose my struggle, right? So you
Okay.
can struggle being poor or you can struggle to get wealthy. And so that part of striving was really making a decision about who I wanted to be. And I realized that I get to tell the world who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that through that process of self development, reading books like One Thing by Gary Keller, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. I didn't even know. I thought when you hit middle class, you made it. But Stephen Seibold talks about there's levels. I said, what? I knew about rich people, right? I'd heard
Mm-hmm.
about that. But you think celebrities, entertainers, but he talks about it's not really the money that comes, it's really the mindset. And so there's the poverty mindset, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
level two is the working class mindset. Middle class thinking is only the level three mindset. There's two more. There's upper class mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's world class mindset. That just was astonishing to learn that. And so reading that book, I also love anything by John Maxwell, but one of my favorite books by him is How Successful People Think. And then what keeps me going, what taught me how to continue to strive was a book by Weldon Long called The
Mm-hmm.
Power of Consistency, and how he was incarcerated, but kept envisioning the life that he wanted. He kept envisioning the time that he wanted to spend with his son. He kept that vision alive even when they would put him in the hole or things like that. He continued to keep that vision for himself. And similar to Man's Search for Meaning in a different way, but just keeping that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And he eventually was released, got everything that he envisioned and more. And that's consistency. So what I know for sure is that discipline beats motivation any day. You can be
Okay.
motivated, but motivation is temporary. Discipline, and that's where those videos came in for YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm going to do this every single Sunday at this time. It's not
Discipline.
about who shows up. It's not about the likes. It's not about the shares. It's not about the follows. It's because I'm going to keep my word to myself.
Okay.
And so I was disciplined, I was consistent, but all of that self development, that strive journey
Mm-hmm.
really came from reading books, internalizing books, and writing out action steps that I actually took.
Okay. All right. And how did that manifest?
So it manifests in a variety of different ways. So when I thought about engagement and visibility, there's so many things I didn't know about technology at all, right? I didn't know that you could go live on LinkedIn. And I was like, I want a community of people that I can network with because I kept saying your network is equal to your net worth. Your
Mm-hmm.
network is equal to your net worth. I want to expand my network. And so, what it looks like in action is I use I am statements. I am a money magnet, and so I attract money. Money finds me sexy. Money is looking for ways to come into my life, right?
Okay.
So I am a people magnet. I attract people who are open to reciprocal relationships. And so I start with my I am statements and I say those every day. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how I get the things into my life that I want. And so, in terms of engagement and visibility, I saw this red light on LinkedIn. Now, some people might call it an accident or a mistake. I just call it universal alignment. And because I saw that light on LinkedIn, I said, I didn't know you could go live on LinkedIn. And a young lady, so I went to the live. I started engaging in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
And based on that engagement, I was introduced to a community of people that now support me and actually come to my live events. I go to their live events. Sometimes we're meeting on LinkedIn, sometimes we're meeting on other platforms, but that community was because of the universal alignment. Had I not seen that red light, I'm not sure because I have different numbers of followers on different platforms, but
Mm-hmm.
the number of followers, when you look at the analytics, it doesn't match the engagement, right? So you can
Gotcha.
have 1,000 followers like I have on TikTok, but my engagement there's 14,000 people. I have a video that's at 70,000 views. Whereas on another platform, Facebook, I have about 7,000 followers, and then I get one like, and I think it's mine, right?
Yeah, social media is a whole different monster.
It is, but that's where we are networking because the world has really shifted since the pandemic, not
Hmm.
just in terms of how people interact physically, but I think how people are mentally, in particular with the younger generation. And so, because of that, a lot of people are online. A lot of jobs now are online, and so
Hmm.
that's where the networking is taking place. And so, I just go where the people are.
Now that's good because that's how we met, right?
That's how we
Online.
met.
The Galentine
Yeah.
event was online and live and in person, and you were very diligent. I was driving. So, but you were very diligent in making sure you understood who was who and what they did, and you were very into the people that were on there. So that's
Yeah.
a beautiful thing. But you have an outgoing spirit.
Most of the time, in terms of personality traits, somebody asked me the other day, what would you say your color personality is? So green is analytical, yellow people are really helpful, red people are very direct and driven, and blue people are the outgoing personality, the fun type. So I think I present as a blue, but in the
Hmm.
background, I'm very green. I'm very, very, very analytical.
Hmm.
I would say that when it comes to money, I'm red. I'm gonna get that. And then I would say that when it comes to life overall, my heart and my spirit are yellow. I love helping people.
Hmm. Okay, say
So
those
I
colors
can't just
again
claim one color. So
because I've
green
never
is
heard of that.
analytical.
Okay.
Green is analytical. They like data. They're data driven. What are the numbers?
Hmm.
And then you have red people who are very direct and driven. They like prizes and trophies and getting things done quickly.
Okay.
And yellow are really helpful.
Hmm.
They have that giver's spirit, and then blue are your fun party. You know, I'll go if people are going to be there. I'll show up. If people are going to be there, I'll bring some people. And so they're very people oriented, and they love fun and excitement. And so I
Okay.
think I'm a mix of both, depending of all, depending on what the situation is. But I lead on social media. I lead with blue.
Okay. See, I'm not good with social media, so I need to tap into your knowledge. Okay, so you have been a avid reader and doing your book reports. You are striving, and then you start thriving. When did that hit you that you were thriving? That you were
But I
in the middle class, upper middle class?
So it started when I realized the importance of self development and the importance of the I am statement. So thriving may or may not start with finances. It really starts with the mindset. I believe that money matters or mindset matters.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's that reticular activation system. So it's when I realized that I could focus on what I wanted and that it would show up in my life. And I didn't have to worry about how it would show up. I just had to get disciplined enough to know what I wanted. And so you can do some people do vision boards, some
Mm-hmm.
people do daily affirmations. I like to, per my coach, record my I am statements because you'll have that negative voice, right? Dr.
Right.
Marquita will say, you can't do it. You putting in too many comments in the chat. Why you doing all those copy chats? You know, don't
Mm-hmm.
nobody want to talk to you. You'll have, but that's your voice in your head
Mm-hmm.
saying those things to you. And so that's why those recordings in your voice are so powerful because all you have to do is push play. And so when you hear meow, 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 you have a loud voice to say, I am a person that people love to connect with, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have this loud voice and you keep recording. You don't have to shout, but you keep recording it until you feel it here.
Right.
And that is when you know that you are thriving, when your positive voice can outspeak your negative voice. When you have that, we all have that little inner voice that says certain things, whether it's about how you look or what you're wearing or where you're going or who you're around. We all have that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why hearing your voice, being the loudest voice in the room in a positive way, is a shift. See, our mind doesn't know the difference of whether we are wealthy or not wealthy. It
Right.
only knows what we tell it. And then the universe makes those things show up for us. So
Okay.
there's a story, just briefly, about a mom, and the mother was told that her daughter passed away in a car accident. And she goes to the hospital. She goes through all of the emotions. She's crying. She's trying to find the medical card, the health coverage, the life insurance policies. And she's upset, visibly upset. And of course, rightfully so. Who wouldn't be if their daughter had passed away?
Right.
So she goes through all of those emotions. And then she gets into the room where her daughter is in the hospital. And they realize that's not her daughter.
Oh,
But she had gone through all of those emotions as if it were, even though that situation was not real.
right.
So imagine if you take that story and you make it positive. I'm rich. I'm well. Your body is going to go through those emotions. I'm wealthy. I live here. If it's things that you want, I have this. If it's a certain amount of money that you want in the bank account, Jim Carrey did that. He wrote himself a check that he kept in his
Yeah,
wallet.
I
And his
remember that.
first movie deal that he got was that amount of money.
Hmm.
And so you can have whatever it is that you want in life once you adjust your mindset.
I remember that about him manifesting his first offer through that chat.
Yeah, he did that with his bike too.
His
When
bike.
he was a little boy. His
Oh,
bicycle. He wanted a bicycle when he was a little boy, and somebody brought him a bicycle, and that's when he first started learning about saying what
manifestation.
it is that you want.
Okay. I didn't realize that. You told me something today. Okay. So you decide to do Sunday sound bites. About how many do you have at this point?
Well, I started in December of 2025,
Oh,
and so I
that's
just did
recent.
my 12th episode. It is recent. I just did my 12th episode last Sunday, so I finished season 1, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting season 2 this Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
12 for that show, but I've also done other recordings, even though I don't live stream them. I have some other recordings that are housed on YouTube, but
mm-hmm.
that's not a live stream show.
Okay. Okay. Are those, I know the recordings you're doing now are financially for your son? Is that correct?
It started that way, but
Mm-hmm.
it's manifested into mindset because it doesn't matter if you talk to people about money if their mindset isn't together. So, clarity from the heart is really about the mindset matters.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do another show, Realigned, Relaxed, and Retirement Ready, that focuses
Oh.
on retirement clarity. Those are just concepts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I review one concept at a time, and those are just housed on social media. So if he wants to know about the 4 buckets or the rule of 72 or debt stacking, those are available. But I connect those concepts into mindset. So the rule of 72, for example, is just about compound interest.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also, what are you compounding in life? What are you investing in people? What are you investing in your health so that those things can grow over time as well? When
Changing the
you talk about
mindset.
changing the mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about debt stacking, people talk about paying off your bills a little bit at a time, but debt stacking has another definition where it's about grace and gratitude and an indebtedness to people. And so I talked on Clarity from the Heart about that indebtedness,
Mm-hmm.
about stacking up those positive things in your relationships with people so that you're benefiting people and other people are benefiting you as well. So I take a similar concept if I can connect it. And one, I'll do a recording about money, but I'll live stream the mindset concept that connects.
Okay. The reciprocity. I love that. You're not just saying, because I think I'm a yellow, but I'm strong in reciprocity. It's not just about you, boo. So,
Right.
um, okay. I just want to thank you first for coming, but I want to wrap up a little bit because you've gone into several different aspects, how you relate all this information to your son so he can have videos of you after the fact, hear your voice, garner your wisdom, and just get his mom live and in living color whenever he wants her. And that's a beautiful thing. But
Thank you.
in the background, you have a business and you are coaching people financially. Tell us a little bit about that.
Specifically, I work with school districts, and I do that because I was a public school teacher for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I came across some financial troubles, and I was like, oh, you know how some people do? They'll go into their retirement account. And most teachers think that they have 403B, most public employees.
Mm-hmm.
They said, no, this is a 401A. Had never heard of that. They say you can't take the money out. And furthermore, if you pass away, your son only gets the money if he's not married. I said, what kind
What?
of raggedy plan is this? I would have never knowingly signed up for that plan.
Right.
And I'm like, this is the fifth largest school district in the nation, and we all have this plan. And so it just occurred to me that I didn't know anything about money. They don't teach it in elementary school, middle school, high school. They talk maybe about banking and getting a checking account,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't really teach you the purpose of money and how money works and what you're supposed to do with money. And
Right.
so I realized at that time that I needed to learn about money. And so I went and got licensed. And with those licenses, what I do now is I partner with school districts to help their staff with their retirement plans. Because the other thing I realized was everybody doesn't want to work 30 or 40 years.
No.
But
I was about
everybody
to
wants
ask you,
to
how'd you get out
retire.
in 20? Because my
Because
girlfriend
every
just retired. I think it was 31 years. And she had to buy retirement because it wasn't
yeah,
34 years, I believe, they
yeah.
wanted her to do.
And a lot of people do that 30 years, 40 years for their retirement. But if you're a new teacher starting out, maybe you're in your 20s, or
Mm-hmm.
if you're a teacher that's coming in from changing careers, maybe you're in your 40s or 50s, do you realize they get the exact same retirement plan? So most businesses have a one size fit all retirement plan, but we don't have one size fit all lives. What if I'm in my 20s, but I only want to work 10 years? Is my retirement plan invested in areas that's going to allow me to retire in 10 years? Or am I being put in a position where I have to work 40 years? And then the other thing is that most retirement plans, at the end of them,
Mm-hmm.
your public retirement plans, they pay you about 80% of what you're making. If you look on social media and you can Google this, 71% of teachers are working second and third jobs. So you mean when I retire, you're going to cut my pay by 20%? I'm not making it now.
Yeah, most teachers
So,
don't get Social Security either.
well, it depends on the state that you live in.
Okay.
So, like in the state of Nevada, your money, there's what's called the Windfall Provision Act through the Social Security Administration.
Mm.
And so it depends on where you live if you get all of your retirement money, some of your retirement money through Social Security or not.
Okay.
So it varies from state to state. But all of those types of conversations. And then I also help entrepreneurs because my brother, who's bipolar schizophrenic, is also a barber, but he didn't have a retirement plan in place. And I
Mm-hmm.
just realized that my mother, who had a home daycare center, maybe we would have been better off if she had a retirement plan in place as well, because you can leave beneficiaries on your retirement plan. So a lot of entrepreneurs don't have retirement plans either. So I help them to set those up as well.
Hmm. Okay. That's good. You mean small business owners and the likes, correct?
Yep. Restaurants, daycare centers, salons. I help them because they deserve to have a retirement plan in place that they own. And even if you work for a large company,
Mm-hmm.
you still should have your own retirement plan because businesses, including schools, close down all the time.
Now,
There are
you,
several schools I've seen recently that are doing that.
schools closing.
Mhm.
Yeah. You are in Indiana, correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay. But do you do virtual? Do you do clients from all over?
Yeah, so my business is national, and
Mm-hmm.
so all 50 states. But I'm right now in the state of Indiana, even though I was born in Chicago, the taxes were better here for building a house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I meet with people virtually.
Okay. So you're using that virtual connection that you were talking about earlier.
Yes. Absolutely. And everybody is not my client. Again, most of my clients are school districts. But what I do believe through that engagement and visibility piece, even prior to me starting to do that, is that everybody deserves the financial education. So all of my financial coaching is free. If people just want to come in and they want to learn about money, they want me to look at their retirement, they want me to look at their life insurance, none of that costs any money. Because people should know, and I hate that the situation that happened with my mother, because we didn't know, the
Mm-hmm.
situation that happened with me was because we didn't know. My son's father passed away, no life insurance, no retirement account. He didn't know. And so it's really just imperative that people have that education. So at minimum, you can make an informed decision. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
what you have is perfect. Wouldn't you like to know that? But maybe what you have is not perfect for the goals that you have for yourself. And I think that people should know that as well.
I think that's beautiful. What's the name of your business?
Great finances. It's GR with the number eight because I believe eight stands for wealth and prosperity. So it's GR8 and then the word finances
Mm-hmm.
spelled with the letter S. And that's my handle on all social media platforms, even the ones I don't know how to use yet, like Twitch. Right. Have no clue how to use Twitch or any or Substack. I just got a Substack account and I don't know how to use them, but at Great Finances is my YouTube, my Facebook, my LinkedIn, any social media platform, and that's also my website as well.
Okay. Great finances on your .com, .org.
Yes, ma'am. .com.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's been wonderful having you. And you taught me a couple different things today, and I'm going to use those colors to try to figure out which one I am. So,
Yeah, well, you're extremely helpful. And so, like you said, probably yellow. I don't know if you like data and analytics, if you like numbers,
I
but
do.
I believe, do you? Okay,
I
so
do.
some people are yellow green,
Mm-hmm.
right? Me, I just took all the colors, and everybody is all the colors. You just it's which one is serving you the best in that
In that
particular moment.
moment. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I'm not blue. Ooh,
We
yes.
had so much fun in our coffee chat, though. You had a little blue.
Yeah, I can muster it up for a moment
Right,
for the networking, and then I,
right.
I put it back in this little box, nice, neat, put it on the shelf until I need it again. So,
Yeah, I hear a lot of people who are introverted say that they're like, listen, I have to come back home and do my me time and my alone time so that I can go into the space with all these extroverts and then it's back home, back into my personal
that
space.
would be me. That would be me.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love my peace and quiet. So those big spaces do take a lot out of me, as most
Yeah,
introverts. But I
yeah.
would consider myself an ambivert.
Okay, a little bit of both. All
Hmm.
right.
Yeah. So there's that. But what would you say to your son about this show? How would you address him? Give me you spoke to your father, said, "Dad, if you watching, what would you say
Hmm.
to your son?"
I would say because he's always known since he was 6 months old that he was adopted.
Hmm.
I've always had that conversation with him. I've always been honest with him. And I would tell him in this space how amazing your birth mother is, that she loved you so much that she wanted you to be able to have a life with someone. And even though you didn't grow in my belly, you grew in mommy's heart. And at any time he wants to do his DNA ancestry, he already knows it's in the top drawer. And we will find his birth family for him. But he knows exactly how much I love him.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I think we will end on that note. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you.
I very seldom recommend products unless I like them, I use them, and I agree with them. So when I tell you that this lint free, no tree, 100% bamboo, biodegradable tissue is strong, 3-ply, and beautiful, I'm trying to tell you Leafy is it. I will leave my coupon code In the bottom of the description is Doc G 25.